In Chicago, you know that all sports rock. The Bears, Hawks, Bulls, Cubs, and Sox. Pick your favorite, you can choose. As long as the Packers lose. For everything you need to know, it's Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago.
Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. This is your hosts, Alex and Sean. On this episode, we're going to be talking about the entire Chicago Bears draft from the 2026 NFL Draft. We're talking a little bit of White Sox and Cubs baseball, but first, I'd like to thank our sponsor, the Rockford Ice Hogs. If you're not familiar with the Rockford Ice Hogs, they're the AHL minor league affiliate of the Chicago Blackhawks. What does that mean for you? You get to see the stars of tomorrow today at family-friendly, affordable prices. Make sure you head on over to icehogs.com, get yourself a hat, shirt, jersey, tickets, and more. Tell them Swerski Sports sent you. Alex, my friend, how I'm sure you watched the draft.
Yeah, I watched the first night of the draft, the first round. I was kind of following it the other days. The second night I was out, but I was able to follow what was going on. You know, I gotta say, I kind of like the shrunken time in between because what, they shrunk it 2 minutes between picks, right?
Yeah, and the first night was great because it happened so much faster. It's really
Yes.
it we used to. I loved the draft, the first round. I loved all the draft, but the first round, man, that many hours to do one round was a little bit brutal.
Yeah, so I mean, you might not think 2 minutes sounds like a lot, but 2 minutes between every pick, that adds up. So, yeah, I think it flowed a little nicer. So, I really did like that. Although I have to say, I wasn't used to waiting this long for the Bears to pick in the first round. It had been since what, 2011 since they picked that late in the first round, noting that in 1920 they didn't have a first round pick because those went in the Khalil Mack trade, but when they did have a first round pick, it had been quite a long time since they had to wait that long in the first round.
Yeah, I went to the CHO draft party, and that was neat. I hung out with Big Dave. He introduced me to Jerry Azuma, Corey Wooten, and Lance Briggs. Lance Briggs dropped a "That's what she said" joke.
Nice.
Um, so it was a cool time, and the whole place erupted when the pick before wasn't Dylan Thieneman. Everybody was like, "Oh my God, he's gonna fall to us! Where he's here, he's here!" And then everybody was at on bated breath, waiting for the pick. And when they announced it, the whole place erupted.
Well, you know, I think it's fair to say that while a lot of Bears fans are divided on the draft overall, I think most Bears fans really like, myself included, the first pick of the draft. I thought that it was the best way I could describe it was they didn't overthink it. Somebody fell to them who was a perfect fit for them, and they're like, we're just going to take it. The nice big silver plate with the shiny object was put right in front of them. And instead of saying, you know, maybe we could sell this, maybe we could find an even shinier object somewhere, I like the fact that they didn't overthink it and they just took it. Because Dylan Thielman, in my opinion, was a great pick by the Bears.
Yeah, I want to before we start diving into the Bears' actual picks, I want to tell a story about the 2012 NFL Draft.
Okay.
Um, so, and one of the major news outlets, I can't remember which one, maybe it was CBS. They were ripping the Seahawks draft to shreds. The first three picks, rounds one, two, and three that the Seahawks had were Bruce Irvin, Bobby Wagner, and Russell Wilson. They said that the only thing keeping Bruce Irvin as the worst pick of the entire draft was the fact that Russell Wilson was taken in the third round. They gave the draft an F minus. Um, that team went on to be really good, and Russell Wilson turned out to be really good, and Bruce Irvin and Bobby Wagner turned out to be pretty darn good. Um, so it's when people are like giving their knee jerk reactions to the draft I think I think it really doesn't matter because it's impossible to tell what's going to happen um, until you actually see these players in the uniforms for a couple of years. I remember when Devin Hester was drafted, people lost their minds. They're like, this guy doesn't even have a real position, and you're drafting him in the second round.
He's in the Hall of Fame now.
He is in the Hall of Fame now.
I want to
And
make another point too quickly about what you said about the Seahawks. Not only were they really good, a year later they won the Super Bowl.
yeah, so I just want to keep that in mind. When I talk about it, I'm not going to give grades. I'm going to give fits, probably, how I see, their thinking behind why they drafted it and how these players are going to be used. Because I don't know. I mean, we all seem to love the Dylan Thieneman draft pick, but who knows? Maybe he gets, not to jinx it, but like, I don't know, anything can happen. And maybe a draft pick that universally people hate turns out to be an amazing player. We don't know. We don't know until they put the uniform on and they go out there and play.
Remember how many people questioned Colson Loveland last year?
Yeah, I love that pick. I loved it. It was, um, I know a lot of people wanted them to draft the other safety or the other tight end, but I thought Colston Loveland fit better with what Ben Johnson was going to try to do, and I think we're right. And you wound up with two really good tight ends coming out of that first round, and they fit. They ended up working out well in the place they went to.
Right. You know, there's another point I want to make too, is this draft in particular, you and I can both agree it was not one of the most hyped up drafts in terms of the talent coming out, right?
Yeah, it's. I mean, on a whole, there's going to be good players coming out of it, but when you look on this draft in like 10 years, it's probably not going to be, uh, you know, regarded as one of the top drafts of all time by any stretch.
Right. And I think my point with this is that I feel like you find diamonds in the rough in these types of situations. And I don't want to say like rough, like, oh, this was completely disregarded as a player, not good, whatever. But I think that a lot of these guys in a draft like this, you put them in the right scheme with the right coaching, then really good players will emerge, maybe where you didn't expect them to. And part of the reason this draft probably wasn't hyped so much is that it didn't have the QB class that a lot of recent drafts have. I mean, we all knew Mendoza was going to go number one overall. That was a gimme, considering who was drafting, what he accomplished. But I mean, it's not like Mendoza was part of this big slew of future potential star quarterbacks. You know, it wasn't like a few years ago when you had Williams and Daniels and Bo Nix and all those guys. So,
I
yeah, I
mean,
mean,
yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I'm not shitting on Mendoza, but if he would have come out in the same draft as Caleb Williams, he's probably the fifth or sixth quarterback taken
right.
because
Which doesn't mean he's going to be good, but yes, right,
that
exactly.
was just a historically good quarterback draft.
Right, right,
Um, so yeah, Mendoza goes number one, and that's the only quarterback that should have gone in the first round.
correct,
But
correct.
did you watch the post draft interview uh with Sean McVay afterwards?
I saw somebody post it. I didn't watch it all the way through.
Oh man, he was not happy. He's like, do you want to talk? He's like, we'll discuss it in private later. And then he was like, yeah, he's going to be competing for that, the backup spot. He was like referring to the third string backup spot. And I was like, oh man, he, uh, he did not want this. And I don't blame him. Is, I mean, it sucks. It sucks that the kid is being drafted in that spot where he's not really wanted by the coaching staff. And it sucks for Sean McVay because they're in a win now window. And you don't think they could have used, uh, Ruben Bain was available. You don't think Ruben Bain would have been good on that defense to make things better? Like,
Well, that's the thing.
um,
I mean, they're in a win now mode with a quarterback that's getting older, but still is good enough to win you games in Matt Stafford. And here's my question. Wouldn't you think that the GM and Sean McVay would be on the same page, considering Sean McVay, he's got to have some say, right? I mean, he's one of the best coaches in football. Wouldn't they be more in sync there? That's what I'm confused about.
My guess, and this is completely speculative, I think Sean McVay retires when, or at least steps away from the Rams when the quarterback retires.
When Matt Stafford is gone.
I think that's part of it is he doesn't care about what quarterback is next. The GM is still going to plan to be there. He's got to worry about what quarterback is coming next. Sean McVay, if he's going to leave when Stafford retires, which, a couple years, then what does he care about? He'd rather win. He wants another Super Bowl before he goes out.
Yeah, I mean, fair, but like again, why would the GM do that to his head coach, and why would the head coach not have a say in it?
I mean, probably just they disagreed on it. And he's like, listen, if you're going to be gone, then I need to think about the future and my job security. You're here as long as you want to be for the most part, especially if you're going to walk away when Stafford walks away. That's the only thing I can think of that would make sense. Anything else seems like it's a broken house. And even
Right.
that seems like I get, I wouldn't say it's a broken house, but I could, the GM is going to pull rank. But if they think this is a long-term relationship, then that's probably really bad on the GM's part.
Right.
But yeah, so going back to how this impacts the Bears, this draft was weird. It just so many unpredicted picks that allowed a guy who um like I listen to one of the only podcasts I really listen to is the NFL Stock Exchange, which has a guy from Pro Football Focus and a guy from NBC Sports. And they had Dylan Thieneman as uh, a top 10 player in their draft. I think they had him at 7. And they pretty much had him, even with Caleb Downs as the best safety in this draft. And he ended up falling to 25. And everybody pretty much said that was the steal of the draft. And you look and you're like, how did that come about? And you're like, okay, we'll start right off the bat is the Jets ended up taking David Bailey over Arvell Reese. I'm not
Hmm.
saying it's the wrong decision, but I think that shocked people a little bit. Then the uh the Cardinals, they go and they take Jeremiah Love at the number 3 pick. Jeremiah Love is a top 3 player in this draft, period. Might be the
Yes.
number 1 player, but the Cardinals have a lot more holes. And you don't have a quarterback. It seems like putting a expensive stereo in a jalopy car. Like it just doesn't.
Awooga!
Yeah, and it doesn't make any sense. And then Carnell Tate, who I think is going to be a good wide receiver, but going number 4, ugh, that seemed weird too. So then you have Arvell Reese, who might have been the second best player in this draft, falls to number 5, and I guarantee, I mean, not guarantee, I have a feeling that when the Chiefs were trying to trade up to 6, they saw Arvell Reese falling, and they thought they were going to get Arvell Reese because they're like, oh, the Giants aren't going to take him. Look at all of the pass rushers they have, and nope, they still take him. And it was funny, his post game press conference, they were like, "Oh, who from the Giants do you are you most excited to meet?" And deer in the headlights, he couldn't think of anybody on the Giants.
Mm.
He was like, uh,
Eli Manning.
uh, and he ended up saying Jackson, but he couldn't think of his last name. He goes, Jackson.
Hey, if you pull that name out, there's odd to be somebody named Jackson on the team, right?
Uh, so that was kind of funny. But then the Chiefs end up trading a good amount to get up to number 6 to draft the cornerback. Then it started to go a little bit more predictable. Sonny Styles goes number 7. Jordan Tyson goes 8 to the Saints, and they needed a lot. And you're like, okay, cool. They took a wide receiver. The Bears weren't going to take a wide receiver in the first. Um, and then the Browns take Spencer Fano. Okay, works for me. Then the Giants take uh, the lineman. Then Caleb Downs, the Cowboys trade up to 11, take Caleb Downs. You're like, okay, that's predictable. And you're like, you're still expecting Dylan Thieneman to be gone. Then the Dolphins take Caden Proctor, who I had as like a second round pick. Okay. And then the Rams take Ty Simpson. And you're like, all right. I had seen people jokingly say that. I didn't think that was really going to happen. Then the Ravens picked probably the second most predicted pick after Mendoza is they drafted the guard out of Penn State. Ruben Bain, who was probably a top 5 player in this draft, falls to 15. The Jets kind of surprise everybody and take Kenyon Sadiq, who is very good. Just seems like they need a lot. Maybe they were just like, we need everything. Might as well just take the best player available. Um, I the Lions took Blake Miller, who's like a right tackle. He's good. I thought he would go a little later than that. Then I was like, all right, here we go. Number 18 with the Vikings. This is where Thieneman's gonna go because they need a safety.
Mm-hmm.
And Thieneman's gonna fit totally in with their defensive coordinator. This is it. This is where we go. And they draft Caleb Banks. If Caleb Banks had 2 working proper feet, I'd say that was a steal, but he doesn't. He's a 300
I
plus
was gonna
pound man
say, isn't there injury concerns there?
with bad feet. Like that's a risk. They took a huge swing there, but that worked out for the Bears. Then Monroe Freeling goes at 19, which I thought was a little bit of a reach. Like, okay. And then the funniest story of the draft is the uh the Cowboys were on the clock at 20, and the Steelers were calling Mekhi Lemon to tell him they were drafting him. While they're on the phone, the Eagles traded up with the Cowboys and took Mekhi Lemon, and his agent had to be like, the Eagles are drafting you. They just announced your name, and they had to and he just hung up on the Steelers.
Yeah.
Like that was fun. He was literally being told on the phone that the Steelers were about to draft him, and they went yoink. No, you're not. So then they had to pivot, and they drafted, I think, a little bit of a reach with the offensive lineman from Arizona State. Then Akeem Messidor goes 22nd. Okay, that Malachi Lawrence, he's good. I think that was a little bit of a reach. Then the Browns come in and draft KC Concepcion, and I thought he was like a mid-second round pick. I mean, honestly, I thought he might have been around at the Bears 57 pick, and they take him at 24. And it's not even that he's a bad player. It's like, oh man, I would have taken Boston, the wide receiver Boston. I think he's better, and they ended up getting both of them. But like, okay, that's a weird one. So that means when they drafted, I was like, that means Dylan Thieneman's there, and the Bears take Dylan Thieneman. And some weird stuff happened, and the Bears walk away, and I loved Dylan Thieneman. He was the guy I had my fingers crossed that there was like any semblance of reality that they could get. That was my dude.
Yeah, I think plenty of people were feeling the same way. So when he was available, I think everyone was praying, don't overthink it. Like I was saying, don't overthink it. And they didn't. It was great.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about this like last week. It sucks to wait that long to draft, but if you're patient and you set yourself up, somebody's going to slide. They
Oh,
always
always.
do. They always
Always.
slide because somebody's drafts dumb, somebody overdrafts a quarterback, somebody falls to you. And the Eagles are notorious for having to do that. They just, oh, the guy fell, there we go.
Yep.
And the Bears played it smart and it happened. And now you have arguably the potential to have the best safety tandem in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, you've completely revitalized it. Now you have Kobe Bryant and Thielman. I mean, it's completely different than what it was last year when you obviously had Brisker and Kevin Byard. And I mean, no disrespect to those guys. I mean, I really like Kevin Byard, but he is older. I did want him back, but you know what? You look at your top safety duo now, and you're feeling pretty good about it. I mean, you have a guy who's 26 but experienced. He's just coming off being a Super Bowl winner, but he's not like 32, 33, where it's like, okay, he's on his last leg. He's right in the prime of his career. And then he's going to be paired with a dude who has a really high ceiling and is young. And that's really, really exciting, in my opinion, because you look at where this Bears team was last year defensively, and it had all sorts of problems outside of the turnovers. And we're going to get to a lot of those problems, getting pressure on the quarterback, stopping the run, the secondary giving up a lot of yards. And a lot of that is hand in hand with some of the other deficiencies on this team. But man, is it nice to have multiple safeties where you can say, yep, those are dudes. And you read about our newest draft pick, and you're like, okay, he can go downhill. He can play center field if he needs to, help get pressures and certain. I mean, it screams Dennis Allen to me.
Yeah, he is a Swiss Army guy, and it's not like one of those jack of all trades, master of none. No, this guy can do anything. Anything that he can play nickel corner if you want him to play. If you the mismatches are gone, which is in this division is going to be great. Those mismatches go away when you have like a fast tight end. He's able to he's big enough and strong enough and fast enough and good enough cover guy to cover a receiver or cover the tight end. And they had him at Oregon playing basically any position. They had him deep middle. They had him playing the robber. They had him play the nickel. They had him playing in the box. He's super scheme friendly. He allows you to do so many different things with your coverages because you could have him line up like he's going to blitz, and he's fast enough and smart enough to be able to diagnose the plays, drop into coverage and undercut things and fall back, and allows you to do a real blitz with your corner. Or he's fast and strong enough to actually blitz himself. You can switch him up. The versatility between Bryant and Thieneman, you can interchange them. He's super smart. He can diagnose these plays. Where Caleb Downs is probably the best safety in this draft. He's number one. Dylan Thieneman is probably 1A. The guy ran a 4.35 40. And, for those of you that don't know, there's a score that's, I don't know, many moons ago, somebody came up with it called RAS, Relative Athletic Score. And essentially it's a grade, a 0 through 10 grade on NFL draft prospects based on the combine and pro day testing compared to every single player at their position since 1987. So if 5 is considered average and a 0 means you're the worst, you are literally at your position, you're the least athletic person that's ever gone to a pro day or the combine. 10 means you are literally the best. And Dylan Thieneman, amongst safeties, every single safety that's ever gone to the combine or a pro day has a 9.67 score. He's a freak athlete.
Well, you know what? Fast. That's how the Bears drafted overall. The athletic traits. I mean, if you look at the overall RAS score that the Bears drafted, it's like highest in football.
Oh yeah, it's insane. Dylan Thieneman, I'm so excited. He's going to be a day one starter, and he's going to be a huge impact on this team. And if you have your corner stay healthy, that backfield is going to be tough to deal with. I know people were freaked out because we had some players walk, and you're like, we lost a lot of turnovers. those turnovers are not going anywhere. Just different guys are going to get them.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, you lost your safety tandem, your main safety tandem. You lost Brisker, you lost Kevin Byard, and I mean, now there's a higher ceiling with what you have now, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those fluky ones, you can't count on those, but
No, like the number of turnovers is probably not going to be the same because there was an insane number of turnovers last year.
these turnovers, you're going to see guys just with the speed and the versatility. If they stay healthy, you're going to see just some amazing turnovers, I think.
Yeah.
Just people are going to be like, "Damn." Uh, so I loved that pick. I walked away from that draft party very happy.
I was thrilled that night too. I was watching highlights, I was reading some of the scouting reports and reading a lot of what people had to say, and there were a lot of people that were very high on this, even outside just Bears fandom. So yeah, I mean, great pick. I am very excited too.
So, Bears, a lot of people said the Bears were one of the big winners of day one of the draft. And I agree. I think that was, they had a spot of need and one of the best players in the draft at the position they needed fell to them. Yeah, okay. Love when that happens for the Bears. So going into day two, I think everybody was like, okay, well, they're probably going to go defensive line. Which tackle, defensive tackle or edge rusher are they going to go for? And when they got to 57, uh, you know, I have a feeling that they thought about some of those defensive tackles. Like I really like Kristen Miller from Georgia. I like Caden McDonald. Um, I like Lee Hunter from Texas Tech. And uh, and I was like, I think those guys are going to go early in the second. When I started reevaluating things, I was like, there was the big run of offensive tackles. I think you're going to have the run on defensive linemen, and they did. And when Ryan Poles was asked about it after the draft, he alluded to, he's like, um, our analysis and our simulations showed that there were the players that we were looking at were going to be long gone by the time we drafted, and it was too expensive to move up. So I think they had that in mind. They were just being very deliberate about trusting the board and where it fell and their simulations. So when they get to 57, you're like, okay, well, where the defensive linemen that are probably worthwhile are gone. Um, what what are they going to do? Where are they going to pick here? Uh, and um, uh, uh, let me see what picked after them. Um, that Emmanuel McNeil Warren was right after them. There was some linebackers, tight ends, a few cornerbacks. This probably the second best safety went a couple picks later. Um, they ended up taking Logan Jones, the center from Iowa. And I think people were upset, but looking at the way the draft board was going, did you want them to reach? Um, you know, like I don't know where you wanted them to go. Like these are the line defensive linemen that kind of went after the Bears picked at 57. Um, Tyler Onyedim from Texas A&M, Kieran Crawford from Auburn, Romello Height. So it was like that like third tier of defensive linemen. Like it didn't work out. I think it's you know the Bears are just trying to make sure that they're picking players that are going to work for their system and not reach. So, and I know people are like, oh, you could have drafted the center later, but the centers went earlier than I expected. I thought they would be available when the Bears drafted at 89. I thought they would be able to pretty much get most any of the centers that they were looking at. And Jake Slaughter, who was probably the second best center in the draft. He went pick uh 63. So he was just a handful of picks after the Bears. So they were going to be gone. Um, so they take Logan Jones, and he 6'3", 300 pounds center out of Iowa. 4 year starter at Iowa. He won the Remington Trophy as the nation's best center, and he was also the best lineman on a team that won the Joe Moore Award as the best college offensive line. He replaced Tyler Lindenbaum. He played defensive tackle. And when Tyler Linderbaum left for the NFL draft, who was the guy that we all wanted as center for the Bears that went to Las Vegas, they moved him from defensive tackle to center, and he was great. The From snap to step process, he's top notch. He has great leverage. He's a former wrestler, tough as nails. He broke his snapping hand, so he learned to snap with his left hand, so he can snap ambidextrous. He's a little bit undersized, but Ben really wants a center who's smart and can call the lines, the plays, and the blitzes, everything from the center position. And when he met with Ben Johnson, and Ben said that was his expectation, his eyes lit up, and he goes, "Good, that's what I want." Um, he's very athletic. We talked about the RAS, 9.56. He called all the checks at the line. He went 17 straight games without a penalty.
That's good.
He squats over 700 pounds, which is a University of Iowa record. The only big issue for me is he's a little undersized, which is funny to say about a guy that's 6'3", 300 pounds. And he doesn't play any other position. He's a center. That's it. So you lose that flexibility, which if he's going to be your starter, you don't worry about it. But if he's a backup, you worry about it a little bit because you're like, he's taking up a spot and has no flexibility.
Well, the way I look at this pick is you're potentially picking the long-term solution at center because Bradbury's only going to be here for 1 year, the guy they traded for from the Patriots. So, I mean, if you were to let Bradbury play, be the primary guy, and then he leaves, and then the next year, Caleb is getting his fourth straight new center. I think it's nice that you bring in that future center now, whether he plays a majority of the snaps or not, he'll be with the team. So I don't mind going center here. And I mean, I don't trust that Bradbury is going to be much of an issue. I don't think he's going to be great, but I don't think he's going to be terrible. I think that he can play just fine for what you're trying to do. But the fact that you have not only options, but a long-term solution in your organization now, I kind of like it.
Yeah, I do too. They had Bradbury. They used a fifth round pick to essentially say, all right, we have a safety net. And I'm not saying is Bradbury's the anointed one. There's going to be a competition. And
Sure.
and Logan Jones is a tough as nails son of a bitch. And he's going to compete and he's going to try to win that position. And I think he's got a fair chance to do it. So it's but it gave you that safety net where if the draft didn't work out for you and you weren't able to get a center, you're like, okay, we can fall to next year and where we have to do it, but it fell to them where they worked out. You're like, okay, we got our dude, and maybe he comes in and wins week 1. I don't know, but he doesn't have to. You've got
No, he
you've
doesn't.
got somebody in there if you want him to have a year under his belt. Um, it's not even getting stronger. It's just learning the system and things like that. So he could win that spot, and if not, you could always try to trade Bradbury. If if he doesn't win the job, if Logan Jones wins it, you could trade Bradbury and go from there. Like that's a possibility as well. Um, so I like it. it takes off the pressure from next year where you don't have to plug a hole when Bradbury leaves in free agency. You've got the guy, and then next year you have a lot more flexibility. Ozzy Trapilla will be back. You'll have your center. You can you'll have all that draft capital to then focus on actually filling any holes you have or trying to move around the draft board and have flexibility.
Right.
Um, then you had the number 60 pick.
This is
Uh,
where I think a lot of the head scratching started from Bears fans.
so you traded the number 60 pick for the 69 and 144. And this is the trade itself, I think, confused a lot of Bears fans because if you use the old Jimmy Johnson point system, the Bears gave up 300 points and got 279 points, which the delta between 300 and 279 is equivalent of a mid sixth round pick. You're like, man, the Bears got hosed there. But that system is like 30 years old. It's been updated um and Brad Spielberger, who was on our show when he was still at PFF, worked with his boss and they created a new system, like much more updated. And using that system, the Bears actually made out like bandits. So in that system, the Bears gave up 925 points and got back 1,335, which is essentially the equivalent of like a mid fifth round pick. So they made out if you look at it from a more modern scale. And it's hard, I think every draft probably you have to tweak what the value is based on where it is. And I'm sure the Bears have a system in place of what the value is of each pick. And so I'm not going to go, oh, that was a bad trade. I think it was a fair one, especially since I don't know who else they would have picked there. And I think trading back gives you extra picks, which you were looking for, because you traded away some of those late rounders, and it buys you a little more room to not have to reach on somebody.
Right.
So when 69 came up, you're like, okay, what are they going to do here? Um, so you're in the third round at this point. You're like, all right, where are they going? And uh, they end up going with Sam Roush, the tight end out of Stanford. And I think that's where people started scratching their heads. And, at first, when you're just sitting there watching live, you're like, oh man, um, why'd they do that? Why'd they do that? And again, you start looking and you're like, all right, who were the players drafted after that? I, the only one I really liked that I could have seen them drafting is Dominique Orange, Big Citrus from Iowa State, the defensive tackle. Like, okay, I like him, but maybe they don't like him like I do. Um, but they drafted Sam Roush, and he's 6'6", 267 pounds. He's a 3-year starter at Stanford, playing the Y tight end. Um, he's fairly new to football. He started playing as a sophomore in high school. He's got a rugby background. He prides himself on being the toughest, most physical player on the field, which screams Ben Johnson, right?
Mm-hmm.
Great blocker. Do you know
No
what his
walk, no rock.
Do you know what his RAS score was?
It's in the 90s, isn't it?
9.99.
Yeah. Pretty good.
Um,
Pretty as close as you could get to perfect.
he's a hell of a blocker. Probably by far and away the best blocking tight end in this draft. Not the best pass catcher. He's got to work on that. He had like a 10% drop rate. Um, but that's something you can
That's what
teach
Colson
people to catch
Loveland's
better.
for.
Yeah, you teach people to catch. Like really, he's a dump off valve if he's catching the ball.
Right.
But you know, I I I pulled some stats. So we lost Durham Smythe. He went to Baltimore,
Correct. Yep.
and he played a decent number of snaps last year.
Mm-hmm.
Ben Johnson runs a 13 personnel like 8-ish% of the time.
Hmm.
So you're going to have those three tight ends. And if you consider the amount of 12 personnel plus 13 personnel he puts in, where he's either got two or, the number of plays he runs where there's either two tight ends or three tight ends is damn near 40% of plays. That's a lot. So yet I think really having a third valuable tight end is not a luxury. It's really what Ben Johnson's trying to do in creating mismatches.
Well, and I mean, think about this too. The 13 personnel is becoming a trend, right? I mean, it seems like it's kind of becoming the way of the world. You know, Sean McVay, wasn't he kind of the pioneer of that?
Yeah, he was one of them. Yeah. It started off with like those elite mad scientist offensive minds. They were like, all right, people were running this like cover two and like certain defenses with shells. They're like, how do we beat that? All right, let's run tight ends in there and pick them apart with tight ends. And you're like, oh, there we go. And now a lot of teams are using it, kind of piggybacking off of it. And Ben Johnson loves it. I mean, if you've got that right personnel, like you're not really losing. You have if you have Colston, Loveland, and Cole Kmet, you're not in a one wide receiver. How much of a pass receiving threat are you really losing in that personnel? And you can run out of that. So it really puts that defense in a, oh shit, are they going to run from a heavy package? Or is Colston Loveland going to just beat the brakes off of my linebacker or safety and go for a big play? It really puts you in a bind.
Well, I mean, we knew coming in when Ben Johnson came here, we knew he liked tight ends, which is why you looked at last year's draft and you saw Colson Loveland and you're thinking, okay, he likes tight ends. You're creating a mismatch with Cole Kmet and Colson Loveland. Now, going to this draft, I didn't really have tight end on my mind going into this draft, thinking that it was a need. And I don't think it is a need, but it is a fit. And it does allow Ben Johnson to do more of what he likes and potentially allows you to do more of these 13 personnel sets. And I mean, for anybody wondering at home, it's one running back, three tight ends, one wide receiver. So let's say, you have Komet, Loveland, and the new guy, blanking on his name already,
Sam Roush,
Roush. I want to
Brandon
say like
Ralph.
I want to say like Rock or something like that, Roush. So you have him out there, and you got like Kyle Monangai, where just you got your pounder back there, and then you have three massive dudes at tight end out there. That can create a lot of mismatches. But again, I don't think it was a necessity, but I see where he can use this to his advantage. It's kind of one of the, hey, I'll trust Ben Johnson on this one, even if it's not a position that I thought was more important for them to take, whether that be a defender, a lineman, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about when I say I'm a believer in best player available. It's sometimes the draft works out differently than you expect or maybe that you hoped, but you've got to be true to your board. And I think the Bears displayed a ton of discipline this year. Last year it was too, but I think even more so this year. There was so much discipline in following their board. They were like, oh, if they don't like something, they trade back. If the guy is there that's different than a position maybe that they thought they needed more, like, I I understand not drafting an edge rusher. I still think you're like, okay, you've got four guys and adding a fifth one, is that really benefiting you? I don't necessarily think any individual one of those four is going to be a Miles Garrett by any stretch, but you were also not going to get a Miles Garrett either. You were going to have a guy probably on that same caliber. Like it's probably wouldn't even have been anybody as good as Montez Sweat. So you've got like, I don't think Ryan Poles was lying. He's like, well, we got Shamar Turner, we've got Dio Adengbo that's going to be healthy. We've got Austin Booker, who really came on the second half of last year, and Montez Sweat. So you're just going to throw another one of that level of caliber in there. Is that helping you more? I think defensive tackle would have been better. If you stop the run, you can those pass rushers get better because they're in passing downs. I still believe that. Um, I asked Lance Briggs, he agreed with it too. And I'll talk about a theme when we get finish up the draft, but you know, the defensive linemen that would have been helpful were either too much of a reach at 25 and they were off the board by 57 and they didn't want to spend the value to move up in the probably the late 30s, early 40s to be able to get one of those guys. That would have been a big move. So I trust the process. It didn't work out how you thought. And this tight end came. I'm sure Ben Johnson started pounding the table. And somebody made a funny picture of Ben Johnson standing on the sideline and he's wearing a shirt that said, fuck that defense.
I saw that too. I saw that too. I mean, look, we'll get into the pass rush in a minute. The truth is, I'm still hella concerned about it. I really
I,
am. And I think Ryan Poles has fucked up big time over the past few years. But I mean, I get this idea that you weren't going to draft somebody infinitely better than what you have with who was available. I get that.
yeah, there was only a handful of guys that I think were going to be beasts, and they were all gone by the time you drafted 25. Like,
Yeah, which is yeah,
you start
unfortunate,
looking at
but
like Zion Young, and you're like, okay, is he better? I don't know. You're gambling. You're gambling that he is, and I don't know if I'm willing to take that gamble. Dylan Thieneman is one of the more surefire things. So I I would not have taken Zion Young over him.
no, you couldn't have passed on that opportunity. You just couldn't have. You really,
Yes.
really couldn't have.
And by the time 57 came around, like there's no edge rushers. I was like, yeah, that's a dude, and you can't believe you're an idiot for passing him up. Same thing with defensive line. Like it's just like nobody. I like Dominique Orange, but I can see why they didn't like him. There's a type, and uh, it's if they don't think that was a scheme fit, okay, then you go with who's there. Um, so I was okay with those first three. I could justify them. 89 seemed like a little bit of a luxury. So you get to the 89th pick. They take Xavier Thomas, a wide receiver out of LSU. And this is from a guy who said, I think the Bears need another wide receiver in this draft. And they got him. And I'm not unhappy about it, but he's kind of a gadget guy.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, again, I'm going to default to I trust Ben Johnson with these offensive inputs, with these offensive players. But uh, I I just, how much luck have we had with drafting gadget guys? I mean, honestly, in recent years, especially under Ryan Poles.
I mean, Tariq Cohen, I think was good.
Oh,
Just
that
he
was
had that.
Ryan Pace.
Yeah. But we drafted one and he turned out to be a fumble guy that um, couldn't learn the playbook. That
Right.
stunk. But I'm hopeful of this. The guy runs a 4.28 40. He's blazing speed. I mean, he's a guy that is anytime he touches the ball, he is like a threat to to take it to the house. He's got that kind of speed. Like there's going to be a lot of times when he's the fastest player on the field at any one time. And it's not just fast, he's quick to that acceleration point. So there's a lot of times where you watch the tape and players are taking what should be a good angle and he beats them to the angle and makes a big play because he just was faster than they expected him to be and the angle didn't end up being good enough. He scored in four different ways during last season. He had obviously a receiving touchdown. He had a rushing touchdown. He had a punt return touchdown and a kick return touchdown. So you have this coming season, I think you're going to have a lot better of a return game because you have two legitimate returners. Last year's returner I thought was a little bit hesitant at times, a lot of times. Now you've got Khalif
Who,
Raymond.
Duvernay?
Yeah. Um, it's Xavion Thomas and Khalif Raymond, I think, are much better returners and going to give you more. Xavier Thomas isn't very big. He's 5'10", 190, but he's built like a running back. Like he's a grinder. He's a leader. Um, and he's not a hands catcher, which is a little bit concerning. Um, and doesn't have a good command of a route tree. So I think it's going to be a minute before you see him getting extended minutes or extended plays. But there's going to be plays that they build for him. And some are going to be decoys. Some are going to be him getting him the ball in space and letting him take it to the house. And some of them are going to be as a decoy. But you can't teach speed. And I guarantee this is another one where Ben Johnson went, that guy is so fast. I need that.
Yeah, I mean, this is a pick where I'm not, I'm not hating on it, but kind of similar to what you're saying. I'm kind of meh about this one.
Yeah,
I'm okay with having another wide receiver, don't get me wrong, but this one doesn't overly excite me.
I sit there and I look and I go, is that how I would have done it? No. But then I start, I'm like, I can see where I can see where Ben Johnson wants this. And then it starts making sense. Um, you know, and you look at what else is there and you're like, maybe you could have gone with Dunker, the tackle out of Iowa. Um, you know, the safety out or the cornerback out of Arkansas. Like there's a couple other guys you're like, all right, maybe, but if I'm trusting Ben Johnson and his utilization of him.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
Then they had the 129th pick and they packaged that the 129 and 144 and traded it for the 124th and the 166th. And when you use either scale, the Jimmy Johnson or the Fitzgerald Spielberger, it's pretty much a wash in the value. It's a even trade. But they moved up and they took Malik Muhammad, cornerback out of Texas. Oh, sorry. Xavier Thomas, the number 89 pick, his RAS was 9.12. So elite athlete. You get to Malik Muhammad, the 124th pick. He's a guy that I think on most big boards was a third round pick. And I saw him ranked as high as the sixth cornerback in this draft, and he fell to 124th. He's 6 foot tall, 192 pounds. His RAS score is 9.51. So again, elite athlete. Value pick. He's definitely an outside cornerback. He's not a nickel guy or a slot corner. He's an outside corner, which I think is good for the Bears. If he does well, he's going to be the opposite of Jalen Johnson.
So he's going to bump down Tariq Stevenson potentially.
Potentially, yeah. And he gave up a lot of catches, but all of last year, he only gave up, and this is Texas. This was a big time program. You know how many catches he gave up over 12 yards? Two. Two. He was all SEC. He's really tough against the run. He's a good cover guy, but that's where he excels is against the run. He can play man or zone. He had 2 penalties all of last year, 1 pass interference and 1 holding. And he's had multiple cousins that played in the NFL. A little light in the ass though. Like he's thin build, but man, he plays hard-nosed football.
When you say light in the ass, I just think of Hank Hill. He's got a tiny ass and a narrow urethra.
I love that show. So I think that's a value pick right there. Not necessarily a need, but the draft board worked out for you. And you ended up, moving up a few spots and having to drop back a few spots, later in the draft. But I think it worked out. There's a good chance he would have been gone in those 5 picks. And the Bears probably thought that because I would love, I would love to be able to see um, this simulation that they have because they have a good sense of what things are going to happen, and um, so they must have really thought somebody was going to take him, jump or be ahead of them and take him. So they moved up 5 spots. Um, then you get to pick 166, and they take Keyshawn Elliott, linebacker out of Arizona State. He's 6'1", 231 pounds. He ran a 4.58 40, so he's pretty fast for a linebacker. He's another value pick. He was a green dot player. He's the only player in a power conference, so the big conferences, last year with 90 plus tackles, 14 plus tackles for loss, and 7 plus sacks. So he is a good pass rusher and a good linebacker. He's the green dot guy. Absolutely violent downhill tackler. Like he's he's was the heart of a defense. He was a leader and captain on this team. Just an absolute plus on rundowns. Maybe a little bit of a, I'm not gonna say liability. I think where he's average at in pass coverage, but when it comes to diagnosing and attacking the run, he's chef's kiss. Um, he was he was the best linebacker on a linebacking core that called themselves the Werewolves. His He was referred to as a coach on the field. He was voted as the Pat Tillman Leadership Council, and had an 8.74 RAS score. So he's another really good athlete.
I see a theme with a lot of the front seven that they've picked up this offseason, whether it's through the draft or through free agency. A lot of run stopping.
That's the thing. When we get to the overarching themes, um, it's I guess we can do that before we get to the last pick. But these were my themes from this draft. Overall, for any position, all of them are leaders. They were captains. They were called coaches on the field. They were, um, you know, they were guys that were guys that led the other dudes. High character guys. You don't see any off-field issues here. They're high character guys that you can count on. Ultra competitors, all ultra athletic, just absolute athletes. On offense, that meant they were fast and or great run blockers. On defense, it was they're all plus against the run. All of them plus against the run. And I think that's the thing. They're going to get guys that when they see that run play, they're all licking their lips. Oh boy, who's going to get there first? And that's going to let those edge rushers eat.
Let the edge rusher eat.
So then they had picks 239 and 241, which were at the end of the seventh round, and they packaged those together to move up to 213. Which again, if you look at either value chart, it's kind of a wash. It's an even pick, which is nice. I mean, you could double down and have 2 picks instead of 1, but at that point, you are just really absolute end of the seventh round. It's lottery picks, lottery tickets. They traded up and they took Jordan Vandenberg, defensive tackle out of Georgia Tech.
Did you see him jumping out of the pool?
This guy is more athletic than that. He's 6'3", 310 pounds. You know what his RAS score was?
Let's hear it.
So this is compared to every single defensive tackle that either did a combine or a pro day since 1987. So like 40 years of players. Perfect 10.
Well,
perfect 10.
Did you see him jump out of the pool?
He was a rugby player. When he moved to the United States, he wanted to play rugby, but all of his friends played football, so he learned football. He's one of those high motor guys, high character guys. He took his NIL money and he bought a laundromat. So he's a smart guy. I think he's going to be a little bit of a project, but man, he seems like he could be a guy that has all of the tools to be able to hit. I think he's just a little green.
Who was the bear a while ago who jumped out of the pool and people made a big deal out of it and he didn't really amount to
Yeah,
anything?
he was terrible.
Do you know who I'm talking
I
about?
know exactly. I remember the video. And I can't think of who it is. Um, oh my God. When you say the name, uh, I'm
Because I'm
totally,
blanking, but I saw people bring it up again. I'm like, oh yeah, I know that story. I know it was a long time ago, but I remember hearing about it.
yeah. Jerron Gilbert.
John Gilbert, thank you,
Yeah,
thank
he was
you.
terrible as a football. I mean, he wasn't a very good football player. He was just a guy that was a good athlete.
Yes.
This guy is pretty good at football. Um, so I I'm hopeful of him. I think he's got a potential to mount to something. And if nothing else, Grady Jarrett is going to be a good mentor for him.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, you got a defensive tackle. Sure, it's in the sixth round. I don't love that, but I think I can see room for all of these players to make an impact, and probably not all this year. A lot of these guys are probably next year guys, which is not a bad thing. It's That's how you build sustained success is you keep replenishing. You can't rely on all rookies. So you draft some guys that maybe you've got to give them a year in the league first. Um so that wasn't it. So once that draft is over, immediately any player that's not drafted gets their you can just sign them. And you can sign them up until uh your roster is full. You're like 90-man roster. So I think the Bears had opportunity to sign 14 people or 15 people, and they signed, from what I've read so far, nothing's official from the Bears yet. It's from reports, but I think they've signed 13 players. I'm going to talk about my favorite one first. Caden Barrett. He's a guard from Wyoming. 9.54 RAS. He's an absolute mauler, a team leader, really durable. He played both guard and tackle, but he's probably going to be a guard in the NFL. He looks like one of the pro wrestlers, the Road Warriors. He's got a mohawk and he paints his face with war paint.
Yeah, I've seen that picture.
He goes by the Vanilla Gorilla. I love it. I love it. The Bears, the absolute mauler. That guy's a guy you run behind. And, they're gearing up for, um, you know, Jonah Jackson and or Joe Tooney to be gone at some point. And they're gearing up with maulers. Um, do you remember the last college game, the bowl game before Caleb Williams came out? He didn't play in the bowl game.
Yeah.
And his backup came in and threw for 372 yards. And a lot of people were like, oh my God, his backup is better than him. Well, his backup is now a Chicago Bear.
Moss Mania. I'm starting it now. I'm starting the movement. Moss Mania. How long before the meatballs will say, what about that Moss guy? He outperformed him in that college.
Yeah, Miller Moss. He ended up leaving USC and going to Louisville. Um, he was the team leader, very vocal guy, quick release, super accurate, strong arm, very high football IQ. Uh, he's just small. I think this one is being looked at as when Tyson Bagent is gone, who replaces Tyson Bagent? And I think that's the key there is they're looking at Miller Moss to be the replacement for Tyson Bagent.
Yeah, I could see that.
Um, Then you sign Jaron Kump, offensive lineman out of Utah, and he's older. I know Bears fans lose their mind. He's 26, but he did a 2-year Mormon mission. He played all five positions on the offensive line for Utah. Super high football IQ guy. He was the captain of the team. Um, I This is a guy that at best is probably a practice squad guy. We'll see what he looks like coming out, but there's some interesting guys here. Um, I don't know how to pronounce this. Casey Eziomum, cornerback out of Tulane. He's a 6 foot, 194 pound cornerback that ran a 4.4. Can't 4.4 speed for a 6'1 cornerback is pretty unique. So that's one of those skill sets. Like, all right, you bring him in, and maybe he ends up being one of those guys that makes the roster or makes the practice squad that you gets time because of injuries. You can't teach height and speed. Um, they brought in Gabriel Placencia, the kicker out of San Diego State. They call him the thicker kicker,
Dude,
2.0.
he's huge.
He's
You've seen the pictures,
he,
right? I'm
so
like, is that a lineman kicking?
I can't wait to see him next to Cairo Santos. So Cairo Santos is 5'8", 173 pounds.
He literally looks like me. Have you?
Gabriel Placencia is 6'2", 230.
It's hilarious.
Like, it's just a giant. Um, so I he's probably just going to be, the other practice squad, or I mean the other training camp kicker, and I don't see him making an impact, but I just like seeing a fat guy kick the ball.
Who doesn't?
Then they signed Coleman Bennett, running back from Kennesaw State. Um, he's a little bit older too. He's 25. He's 6 foot 210, high IQ, high character guy. In 5 years of college football, he fumbled once. He holds onto the ball. He's
Good hands.
really shifty in the pocket. Not a super fast guy. He's a 4.68, so not a burner, but he's really shifty in the pocket in the hole. Um, I don't think he's gonna make it on there, but like, he's not that interesting to me. Um, Skylar Thomas, the safety out of Oregon State, 6'2", 210. So he's big. 4'6". He was the captain. He was a really good special teamers. He plays the nickel, and he's a big time run defender. That's a guy I would not be shocked if he made a backup spot. Um, so he's a guy I have my eye on. Um, Hayden Large, tight end out of Iowa. He played fullback and tight end and special teams, big time run blocker, high football character guy. They loved him in Iowa. He's a run blocking guy, probably at best practice squad. I don't expect a lot of things out of him. Jaden Loving, defensive lineman out of Wake Forest. He was all ACC, super high motor guy. He was a guy that nobody was really talking about in the draft until the combine. A 9.93 RAS. So elite athlete. So the Bears picked him up. I don't know how good he's going to be, but he's super athletic, and he's not taking up a roster spot. No draft pick either. He's going to be, I'm going to keep my eye on him. I don't have super high hopes, but he's going to be interesting. And then my favorite name of the draft, Squirrel White.
I saw that. I'm like, wait a minute. That what?
Squirrel White, wide receiver out of Florida State, 5'9", 177. He's a slot receiver, not a super fast guy, 4'6", but I'm praying that Squirrel makes the team because I want to see Squirrel.
His locker is just filled with acorns.
Then they got Bo Gardner, who's another long snapper. I mean, last year's long snapper was a undrafted free agent rookie. So he's got a shot. Then Omari Kelly, wide receiver out of Michigan State. He's 6 foot, 195 pounds, ran a 4.58. He's another guy that's nothing stands out about him, but in a bad Michigan State team, he put up some respectable numbers against Big Ten opponents. So, and then Mason Murphy, offensive tackle out of Auburn. Uh, he is 6 foot 5, 315, and he's a zone block guy. The ones that are really interesting to me is Caden Barrett, obviously, Miller Moss, uh, Jaron Kump. Those are the ones, and maybe Skylar Thomas. Like if anybody's gonna make this roster, it's gonna be one of those guys, I think. But then they had a couple of guys that they didn't sign as undrafted rookies, but they invited to camp. And I won't read those names. I don't know anything about them except one. Olin Kreutz's son,
Uh-huh. Yep. And
Josh Kreutz.
not only is that cool to represent Olin Kreutz, it is really cool that that's another Illini representation with the Bears.
Yeah. Maybe now Olin is willing to take that $15 an hour job to hang around his son.
Damn it, I was just about to make a joke. Like I'm like, "Oh, are they bringing him in for his nice like minimum wage temp like pay from George McCaskey?"
Uh,
I still want to picture, Josh Kreutz is in there. He's in training camp. Olin is watching from the sidelines, and there's George McCaskey not wanting to get anywhere near him. I'm just gonna scoot the other way.
uh, what's something I forgot to talk about with Sam Roush? Uh, did you know his dad was a teammate of Patrick Mannelly at Duke?
No kidding.
Yeah. And his great uncle is Merlin Olsen, the longtime NFL player and commentator,
Huh.
who
I didn't
was
know that.
also a character on Little House on the Prairie TV show.
Who was the cousin of George Washington, who was the descendant of King Henry III, who was also the long, long lost cousin of Paul the Disciple. Just keep going back.
Well, who was it? Which player was it? I think I think it was Xavier Thomas. Uh, Somebody said that he was like a distant relative of Walter Payton, and they asked Jared Payton about it, and he goes, "I don't know about all that, but I'm interested in finding out."
Do some DNA tests,
Yeah.
do some family tree digging.
Mm. So,
I mean, and Sean is also now going to describe how the newly drafted, or the newly signed, I should say, Squirrel, whatever the hell his last name is, the new wide receiver, is
Squirrel
also
White.
Squirrel White. Is I can't that name. I can't. Squirrel White. It's like Snow White, but some fucked up squirrel fantasy.
He's Squirrel White.
Squirrel White is now the father's brother's cousin's friend's former roommate of John Elway, right? Did I get that right?
Well, Squirrel White, his birth name is not Squirrel. His
Oh,
his birth name is Marquarius Malik White, but they call him Squirrel. And I'm
I
sure we're going to find out come training camp why they call him Squirrel.
he just likes to eat nuts. He's just gnawing on them. I hope
Uh,
he doesn't go to a Cubs game because he might get scared away by Buttercup.
uh, so then that had me, we've got this in the books. Um, and, it had me start looking at the, the roster build. And I want to go through it a little bit. So, um, punter, we're stuck there. I mean, not stuck. We're locked in. Torrey Taylor's our punter.
Oi,
Uh, Cairo Santos is most likely our kicker, unless the thicker kicker just really shows up.
dude, what if
And
the thicker kicker comes in and is kicking like 60 yarders in preseason?
uh, Have you ever watched? I mean, I asked you a couple times. I don't know if you ever watched it, but the Tony Danza movie, the garbage picking, field goal kicking Philadelphia phenomenon. You
What the
got to watch it.
flying?
It's about a.
That sounds
It's
like a Tony Danza movie.
it's essentially it is like the Timu version of that Mark Wahlberg one. Was that Invincible?
Oh yeah,
It is
okay.
the Timu version of that.
Got it.
He's the garbage man and becomes the field goal kicker for the Eagles.
That's amazing. That is amazing. You know what I think? I think if the thicker kicker is out there, if he's quick enough, he kicks and then he blocks for himself. So he doesn't have to worry about his field goal getting blocked. He kicks it, then lunges forward and prevents anybody from blocking the kick. I think it's a win-win.
What if he's like a Sebastian Janikowski where he's like running down there to try to make the tackles on kickoffs?
Oh, hell yeah. He's just bowling into people. That'd be
Do
cool.
you remember the year Sebastian Janikowski was drafted? Sebastian Janikowski was a first round pick kicker,
Oh yeah.
and Tom
Yeah.
Brady was a sixth round kicker or
Yep.
quarterback. So first round kicker, sixth round quarterback.
I mean, I was a little kid, but I know of that happening because that was the Raiders, wasn't it,
Yeah,
that drafted him?
it's that was like the start of everyone laughing at the Raiders and their poor drafting ability.
Yeah, man, who was the head coach at the time at the Raiders or the GM, either or? Do you remember?
I don't know.
So it was well before Gruden.
Was Art Shell? Um, uh, I mean, I'm sure that was a the owner pick.
And hey, Sebastian Janikowski was a good player. He was a very good
Um,
kicker for a long time.
yeah, I mean, he was a good kicker. Like it was. I mean, if you take away that it was a first round pick, like he played for a long time and was very good.
Yeah.
Um, but man, drafting drafting a kicker in the first round is
Yeah.
arguably the dumbest thing ever. John Gruden was the coach.
It was John Gruden.
Yes. Yes. So do you quickly want to run through what the depth chart looks like? Not depth chart, but
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
so you want to start with offense or defense?
Let's start offense.
All right. So the wide receivers got Luther Burden, Roma Dunze, Khalif Raymond, Jade Walker. After that, we've got Maurice Alexander, Xavier Thomas, JP Richardson, and then Squirrel.
Squirrel.
Squirrel. So I don't love that depth. And I wonder if they're going to carry only five wide receivers on this roster.
You say you don't love that depth, and yet Squirrel's going to show up with his cheeks full of nuts, and you're going to be like, I'm going to run through a brick wall for this guy.
uh, Tight end, you've got Colston Loveland, Cole Kmet, Sam Roush, Steven Carlson, Nikola Kalanick, and Kadir Ishmael,
Not bad.
who's Rocket Ishmael's nephew.
You are just on the family trees
I
tonight.
am. I am. Um, at tackle, uh, you've got Braxton Jones. I'm not including Ozzy Trapillo because he's going to be injured. Braxton Jones, Darnell Wright, Theo Benedette, Jedrick Wills Jr., Karan Amagaji, Jaron Kump, and who's the other guy you brought in? Mason Murphy. At guard, you got Joe Tooney, Jonah Jackson, Jordan McFadden, who you did like. He looked good in the very limited amount of time he played last year. Luke Newman, who you also liked. Kyle Hergel, Caden Barnett. So I kind of like your guard depth. I'm pretty excited about that. And then at center, you've got Garrett Bradbury, Logan Jones, and Josh Kreutz. At quarterback, you've got Caleb Williams, Tyson Bagent, Case Keenum, and Miller Moss. Running back, you've got DeAndre Swift, Kyle Monungai, Britton Brown, Deion Hankins, Roshan Johnson, um, and Coleman Bennett.
Yeah, Roshan Johnson still exists, people.
Yeah, I don't think he got a single carry last season.
I don't remember him getting one.
Um, and then defense at corner, you've got. Oops, sorry, I had another page let off. Um, you've got Jalen Johnson, Kyler Gordon, Tyreek Stevenson, Malik Muhammad, Zoff Frazier, Jalen Jones, Dante Manning, Josh Blackwell, Cam Lewis, and Terrell Smith. Terrell Smith was looking like he was going to win that job as the other outside cornerback until he got injured.
Yeah.
So I'm very hopeful for him this year.
He'll have
Linebacker.
some competition though to get there.
Oh yeah, I mean I think the depth is much better now. Um, Linebacker, you've got Devin Bush, TJ Edwards, DeMarco Jackson, Ruben Hippolyte, Nephi Sewell, Noah Sewell, Jack Sanborn, Dominique Hampton, and Keyshawn Elliott. So you've got some good depth there, linebacker.
Nephi Sewell.
That is the brother of Noah Sewell and Panay Sewell.
Yeah, and I was just making sure you were going to make your family tree point.
Well, yeah, duh. Um, at safety, you've got Dylan Thieneman, Kobe Bryant, Dallas Flowers, Elijah Hicks, Jervarius Owens, um, and Skylar Thomas. So I think there's room for somebody. I wonder if they might move one of those cornerbacks, try him out at safety, so that you have a little more opportunity there to have some flexibility in your depth.
Yeah, maybe.
Uh, at edge, you've got Montez Sweat, Austin Booker, Dio Odengbo, your
Who's
favorite.
motivated?
Yes. Shamar Turner, Daniel Hardy, Jonathan Garvin, Jamri Chroma, and Jeremiah Martin. At defensive tackle, you've got Jervon Dexter, Grady Jarrett, Neville Gallimore, you brought in as a free agent. Kentavious Street, you brought in as a free agent. James Lynch, Jordan Vandenberg. Um, so you've um, so you need some of those guys to step up there, I think.
Yeah, well, if Dio Dangbo is going to be motivated, can he be motivated to get to the quarterback more?
I mean, that's the hope.
I mean, I trust him to be a decent run stopper, but you need more sacks. This defense needs more pressure and more sacks. And, we understand that sacks don't just come from edges. There's many ways you could dial up pressure on a quarterback. Watch the last few Super Bowls. I've said this many times. And then when you look at what the Bears have on defense now, you really need Kyler Gordon to be healthy next year so that nickel corner, you can work those nickel corner blitzes. That makes a big difference. And he wasn't healthy last year. So you saw the impact that not having your star nickel could have.
Yeah. And I mean, if honestly, if you're desperate for a more pass rush, I know it's not long-term sustaining but if you need stopgaps, um, Joey Bosa is still available. Um, Cameron Jordan is still available. Um, Jadeveon Clowney is still available. Hassan Reddick is still available.
Is Yannick Ngakoue still available?
Didn't he retire?
Yes, that's why I'm jokingly saying is he still
Yeah.
available?
I mean, Hassan Reddick is 31, so he's not ancient. Jadeveon Clowney's 33. Um, Cameron Jordan is old. He's 37. Uh, but he still had 10 and a half sacks last year. So, um, And Joey Bosa's 31.
Can he even still move?
He had 42 pressures last year. 5 sacks, 5 forced fumbles, and 42 pressures.
Well, I mean, there's this summer, those next round of free agents are going to be so I would not be surprised if the Bears make some moves when that time comes.
So I'm just saying that there's out there if because it was that first big wave of free agency. Then there's that second wave once, things calm down a little bit. There's that second wave. Then it's a dead zone leading up to the draft. You get the draft, you get the undrafted free agents in. Then you'll probably have a few days to calm down, and then you'll probably start seeing remaining guys sign. Probably, some of them might not be until, depending on the team, until after June 1st.
Well, I was going to say, because guys get cut, and that's where, you can kind of bargain shop after that.
Also, any free agent after a certain point no longer counts in that compensatory pick calculator.
Yeah, that's true.
Um, and then if you're looking at defensive tackles, that's a little bit more barren as far as um, the free agency pool is going. Um, you got DJ Reader. Uh, that's a possibility. 32 though. That's not a lot of defensive tackles left. Um, but I I wanted to play a little game with you and um had the Bears not gotten screwed by the NFL and they would have gotten those compensatory picks for uh you know their assistant GM becoming the GM of the Falcons, and they would have gotten the 2 third-round picks. The pick that they would have gotten would have been pick 101, the very last pick in the third round. And what made it easy is that's the end of day 2. So any player that was available at the start of day 3 would have been available for the Bears. Um, and so this is a long-term thing because who knows what it is based on today. But had the Bears gotten that number 101 pick, who would have been your guy at pick 101?
I said Caleb Proctor, a defensive tackle from southeastern Louisiana. He ended up going to the Cardinals at the very beginning of the fourth round. I want to say he was pick 104, but it seemed like he had a number of attributes that we would have wanted for the Bears to have along the defensive line. He could get after it a little bit. So that was the guy I was looking at.
Um, the guy I chose, I was like, this is house money, right? It wasn't one of
Yes.
their slot of picks. It's free money. I went with the guy that has big injury risk, but if he was healthy, is probably a top 10 player in this draft. And I went with Jermod McCoy, who actually ended up being pick 101, pick 1 of the fourth round. Um, the the Raiders traded up to get him. He's a guy I would gamble on because even if he doesn't play a long career, the if you have like a legit guy opposite of Jalen Johnson that's a top 10 value pick, whew, that could be good. It's a little bit cold, but do you really care about his long-term health?
Well, you want to get the value as quick as you can. So, I mean, if you're thinking short term, yeah,
I mean, even if he just makes his rookie contract and that's it, you're
right.
like, all right, cool. We got we squeezed the value out of that. We got a 4-year starter with a borrowed pick at 101. Like, I think that's I think that's pretty cool. So that would have been my guy. I'm gonna write these down, and we'll see in a couple years how they look, how they stack up. because I think it's a fun exercise. I know we all bitched about having that extra pick or those two extra picks, but if they don't make good use of them, who cares,
It's a
right?
wash, yeah.
So we will see how good we would have been as the GM with that extra pick.
Morphing into Ryan Poles.
Um, we should wrap this up talking a little baseball.
Sure.
I do want to bring up something very funny. So it's not funny that they got fired, but Boston Red Sox fired their their manager and several coaches.
That team is kind of in disarray right now.
So I mean, it's sad when somebody loses their job. That's not the funny part. Did you see the picture of the bus uh that took them away?
Yep.
So if you didn't see this, is if you looked, they got picked up in one of those like limo vans, and on the side of it, the company and name is Coaches for Hire.
God. They really didn't think that one through.
I just That's brutal. And whoever was the one that just saw that first, kudos to you. Just kudos. That's funny. That's the funny part there.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm like, is that AI? Is that Photoshop? Is that fake? And it's like, no, that's real.
Uh, so, um, who do you want to talk about first? The Cubs or the Sox?
Well, I wasn't here last week, and over the past week or so, a lot has happened with the Cubs. They went on that 10-game winning streak, which was awesome, by the way. You swept the Mets at home, you swept the Phillies at home, you won the opener against the Dodgers where you were down 4-0 late, and you rally and win. Also, can't fail to mention the two wins in Philadelphia, so you ended up going, what was it? 6-1 versus Philly over like a 2 week
Yep.
stretch.
Yep.
And you know what? You saw the guys that you wanted to, for the most part, you wanted to see start hitting. That includes Seiya Suzuki. That includes Michael Bush. Even PCA, who's still kind of, he has hit better overall over the past week or so. You saw him get some hits off some lefties, and Nico Horner continues to do his thing. Carson Kelly and Miguel Amaya are,
You're
continue to be
forgetting
solid
one
bats.
guy.
Well, I'm going to get to that one guy. Are you saying struggling or overall?
No, I'm talking about one guy that we all want to see hit and is hitting.
Are you talking Mo Baller?
Yes.
That guy, holy shit.
So my wife is from Philadelphia. She's a Phillies fan, and she was like, "I want to go to the game." And normally I do not go to April baseball because you have no idea what you're getting in
Yeah,
weather
weather can
wise.
stink, yeah.
We went to the Tuesday game, and oh my God, could not have asked for more perfect weather.
Yeah, that was
It
a
was
nice night.
beautiful, and uh, Ballesteros did not start that game. He came as a pinch hitter with the bases loaded at one
Hmm.
point, and the whole crowd went nuts. And she's like, "I don't understand why they're going nuts." I'm like that's Moises Ballesteros. She goes, "Yeah, I don't get it." I was like, "It's Moises Ballesteros." She's like, "You're gonna have to explain it to me." I'm like, "Moises Ballesteros." She's like, "I still don't understand." And then he walked home a run, and she's like, "All right, well, anybody could walk." And I'm like, "No, they were scared to pitch to him with the bases loaded.
He was
The guy's
down
a
0-2
beast."
and he worked a walk too.
Yeah. When he went down 0-2, she's like, "I don't see the big deal." I'm like, "Watch, just watch." And he worked it to a walk, walked home a run.
He was hitting 400 like going into last night's game, and he's in like the 96th percentile in hard hit rate, the barrel rate. If you go to Baseball Savant, there's a lot of red. Red is good, by the way, in terms of his offensive stats. I mean, the swing is beautiful. He looks confident. I think it was against the Phillies in the finale. It was during the day, so I missed it. I was at work, but he hit like a 111 mile an hour rope double off the wall. I mean, You listen to the ball off his bat, it's like an explosion. It's like a cannon is firing right in your ear. I love watching Moises Ballesteros play.
He's a rookie.
He's what, 22 years old?
He is a kid. They should lock him up for 100 years. Just lock him up.
Yeah, give him PCA's money right now, why don't you?
I mean, the thing is Mo Baller, not really a position guy. He's
No.
DH, but man, lock him up.
You can't leave that bat somewhere else.
No,
You
no.
can't.
Like I mean, just wait till he starts growing into that power.
Yeah.
Like he's hitting missiles right now. Just imagine when the wind starts blowing out and he gets a little more experience under his belt. Man, you are just gonna like the whole stadium is gonna come in with Ballesteros jerseys.
They're gonna say bye to their Moises Salou and say hello to their Moises Ballesteros jerseys. And then everyone's gonna be like, "Hey, Mo Baller, do you go wee wee on your hands?" They'll be like, "What? No." And we're like, "Okay, just checking."
I remember when that came out and everyone was like, "What the fuck? He pees on his hands?"
I urinate on my hands. Yeah, he did. But you know what? It worked. He was a hell of a Moises Salou was a hell of a hitter.
He was.
He was a hell of a hitter. He hit 303 in his career, like over 20 years. And he hit 300 some homers. He was a hell of a ball player.
His dad Felipe Alou played played in the majors.
So
Um,
did his uncle.
so
So did
did
his
his
other
uncles.
uncle.
His uncles Matty and Jesus were longtime outfielders.
I mean, the
Um,
Alou family runs deep in baseball, and they were all very good players.
in 1963, the Giants had all three of them.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it
Um,
runs deep in that family, man.
uh, Felipe's other son, Luis Rojas, was manager of the Mets.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, that is a baseball family. I just wanted to stick with the same theme of talking about families.
Yeah, you have to. You have to.
It's going to be my calling card.
I mean, I threw Moises Salou out there and you just ran with it. It's like you have this file cabinet of athlete family trees and you just know exactly where to take it at the right time.
You got to, you got to. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's tough to be mad about anything the Cubs did during those last 11 games. The game before that, abysmal. Today, not so great, but that 10-game win streak, during that streak, the Cubs had a plus 41 run differential.
Yeah, pretty good.
Uh, they had a 264 staff ERA, which was lowest in baseball,
Which was due to regress a little bit, and we saw that today and
obviously.
yesterday.
They were number one in all of Major League Baseball in batting average, 327, on base percentage, 403, slug, 540, and OPS, 944. 944 team OPS for that 10-game stretch.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's
That was
pretty good.
incredible.
And the defense, man, look at it seemed like every day they were making highlight reel plays.
Until the game I went to, and they couldn't turn that double play to end the game.
Well, wasn't
Ugh.
that frickin' Scott Kingery out there?
Yes. I was so mad. I was like, why? Why is he out there?
And wasn't that the game
Bregman
where
was the DH.
right, Bregman was the DH, they pinch hit Matt Shaw with Moises Ballesteros, so if you would have and then they replaced him on the bases with Scott Kingery. So you couldn't move Bregman to third or else you'd lose your DH. So that's why they had to do that with Kingery.
Yeah, maybe
Which,
they should make an Otani type rule for that.
yeah, really. Seriously. But wasn't that the game, the one you were at? You know, obviously they won, they scored 7 runs, but wasn't that the game where they had like 24 base runners? They drew like 10 walks, 12 hits, 2 hit by pitches, and they could have
Yeah.
had like double the runs.
I mean, even like, so it was Bush that kind of broke it open, and it was with a duck snort. Like,
Yeah, you texted me. You're like, I think I just reverse jinxed him.
well, because I was like, he stunk. And he went up to bat, and I was like, I think Michael Bush is broken.
Yes.
And hilarious is, he did it break the curse? I don't know, but he gets that bloop single that drove home two. And you're like, well, I that's one way to do it.
Doesn't matter how hard, just swear.
Well, my wife was so mad because at one point, like, she's a big Harper fan, and I was like, oh, I mean, he knocked the shit out of that one, and it shows you on the thing how far it was hit, and it went it went 11 feet. He knocked the shit out of that one.
Oh, I don't think that
Mm.
has quite the distance.
Yeah, but then Bam Bam comes up and just walloped one.
Wasn't
And
even
did
a bad pitch.
No, he muscled that one. It wasn't a bad pitch. He just absolutely muscled it. And the wind wasn't blowing out either. It was weird. It was like, if if you looked at the corners, those flags were dead, but the
Yeah.
ones that are above the scoreboard were like blowing weird directions. So it was like that
Swirling
weird
wind, yeah.
swirling wind.
Yeah.
But I mean, where he hit it, that was just clean. Went, phew. He's just a big, strong man.
Yeah, he is. But you know what? That's the only thing he did against the Cubs. Outside that first game, the one loss at the very beginning to the Phillies when they were in Philadelphia, when he had those two homers, the rest of the six games, he didn't do jack outside of that one homer.
You know, the computerized refs or the umps, like, that is going to add years to Kyle Schwarber's life, because look at when I mean, he's got a very good eye.
And he always has. He's always had a fantastic
Yeah,
eye.
I mean, he doesn't always hit when he swings. There's a hole in his swing, but man, he's got a really good eye. And when he thinks a call has been missed, loses his mind, loses his mind. And now it just, nope, tap my helmet. Yep, I got it right. And that game I was at, they used the automated system there to check on a couple of them, and um, the Cubs ended up being the good recipients of most of those. Um,
Yep,
so it was a good game though. We ate
absolutely.
we ate a helmet of nachos,
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
and we had my daughter was like, I want nachos, and my wife was gone, and she's like, I'm gonna go get nachos and a helmet. And when I came back, my wife had got my daughter just regular nachos, and I came back with the loaded nachos. I got everything except the meat and the hot peppers because my kid doesn't like spicy stuff because she's a kid. But man, we just started housing nachos. We had two orders of nachos that we were too full to even go get ice cream and a helmet.
Sodium content off the charts.
Off the charts. I mean, if you got them fully loaded with the meat and the jalapenos,
Oh my God.
that I think they said that it's like 3,000 calories.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I
That
mean,
sounds
it,
about
it
right.
was like it was like 1.5 adult daily consumption of calories.
I mean, the taste of fully loaded nachos for me with the meat and the spicy peppers, the jalapenos, that's heaven when I taste it. But boy, my innards would not enjoy that after a while.
Yeah, and then I love that they have like veggie dogs now, because man, I loaded up with toppings. Like, I put like three pickle spears on there and heaping mounds of relish and onions, and slather it with mustard, and then I go to the station next to it that must sell like chicken fingers or something, because they have packets of barbecue sauce, and I get a packet of barbecue sauce and dump it on there, and it
Whoa,
totally
whoa,
all
whoa, whoa. You put barbecue sauce on a Chicago style veggie dog?
I put it on the Sean style veggie dog. I don't put sport peppers on there, or the celery, or the salt. The
That
I
is
put
so
I put mustard,
obnoxious.
barbecue sauce, onions, relish, tomato, pickle.
That is
extra
so,
pickles. There's
that
so much
is
pickle between the relish and the actual pickle spears. There is so much pickle on there that I like a little veggie dog with my pickles.
that is so obnoxious.
It is obnoxious.
But you know what? I love the fact that Wrigley has that now because whenever I get the hot dog, I always get a hot dog. I love my pickle spears. I love my celery salt. I love my relish. I love my mustard. And I love my sport peppers.
And
Love,
I
love, 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 love
and
sport
and
peppers.
they get the good relish, the one that's like neon green.
Yeah.
Like it looks like something from like a UFO, like not from this earth. It like you
Well, I
buy a
guess it's
regular, you're like,
Heinz.
yeah, like, when I buy like the kind, it's like it's green, but it doesn't glow in the dark green. Like they get like I guarantee if like the power went out in that stadium on a night game, you could find where you were based on the condiment tray because it's glowing.
The exit signs are just smeared
They're
relish.
like, quick, move all like slather the exit with relish.
You got the ushers just slathering the
They're
relish to
just
guide
flinging
people out.
spoonfuls along the way. Uh,
Man, now you're making me hungry for a Chicago dog. Because again, and what I love about Wrigley is you can control your proportions. I want to add another sport pepper. I'll add another sport pepper. I want to put two pickle spears. I'll put two. I want extra mustard. I'll put on as much mustard as I want. I want more onions. I'll douse that thing with onions. Oh, chopped
oh,
onions, man.
they are nicely chopped too.
Oh yeah.
Like that, like I if I don't know what I would do if I got to the game like super early before anybody touched the condiment tray because I bet that's a thing of beauty with the all of the tomatoes and the pickles and the onions and the relish.
You're just slathering over it, and the ushers are like, sir, are you okay?"
It does bother me that they put between all of the condiments and the mustard, they they shoehorn the ketchup in there.
It is kind of funny. But I like putting ketchup on my French fries, so it's okay.
Well, then you should put the ketchup away from it on the other side of the table.
Yeah.
It's
Say
not next
this
to it.
area is for French fries.
Yes. Um, but it was funny when I was waiting in the line to put the condiments on my veggie dog. Um, somebody was putting ketchup on all they put on their hot dog was ketchup. And somebody went, "Is that for a 6-year-old?" And I was like,
I
"Well played, sir. Well played."
that is probably asked at that stadium every game because it's Chicago. That's the thing.
Um, so let's see. Uh, Javier Assad stinks.
He's on and off, I feel like. He's either really on or really off.
Yeah, he stinks. Um, and Nicky Lopez is back for
Woo!
reasons.
26 man. Because Scott Kingery can't feel the ball.
Oh, he's terrible. He's brutal. Um, and then you you brought up or you bring up Yaxel Reese,
Yeah,
right?
so there is a big negative with the Cubs right now. Their entire bullpen is hurt.
Yeah, well, Phil Maton is coming back.
Oh, yippee. Walk a bunch of guys. Well,
I mean, in theory, he should be one of our better.
he should be. He should be, but
We'll see what happens when he comes back.
yep. Yep. Ben
Uh,
Brown has looked much better, so that's good.
but Yaxel, if you remember him, he was on Team Puerto Rico,
Yep.
but he's like 33 years old.
Hey, so was Drew Pomeranz last year. You got to just find him. I mean, what was it? Riley Martin was the latest victim.
Yeah.
God, he was looking good. He was looking good. And then you just lost Theobar, who's your best pitcher because Palencia is also hurt. And Hunter
But
Harvey's also hurt. And Ethan Roberts is hurt.
yeah, you're really going through them. Um, yeah, Yaxel Rios is going to be 33 in June. Uh, but um, yeah, we'll see what that looks like. But he was yeah, he was on Team Puerto Rico in the World Baseball Classic and did really well there.
So, do you want to hear the list of notable pitchers both on MLB, like on the MLB roster and within the organization, I believe on the 40 man who are hurt?
Oh, this will be fun.
Okay, here we go. So this is MLB slash AAA arms on the IL. So I would assume this is both 40 man and just in AAA that are notable veterans. Brandon Birdsell, Jeff Brigham, Hunter Harvey, Porter Hoge out for the year, Gavin Hollowell, Cade Horton out for the year, Gabe Klabostis, Riley Martin, Phil Mayton, Shelby Miller, Jack Neely, Daniel Palencia, Ethan Roberts, Will Sanders, Justin Steele, Caleb Thielbar, Jordan Wicks, Jackson Wiggins, Kyle Wright.
I mean, that's like a full bullpen and half of a rotation.
That's a full pitching staff. That's
Just
a full
so,
pitching staff.
uh, and that's why you throw out Colin Ray and Javier Assad against the Dodgers in LA and they just get smashed.
And Colin Ray has been such an unsung hero for this team.
He has. I
But
don't like. I don't want to beat him up today, but I'll beat up Javier Assad.
I just like as much as I like Colin Ray, it goes to show, and we saw it last year when it comes to the postseason and having to beat the best of the best. Yeah, you want guys with more stuff. And I pray that Justin Steele can find old Justin Steele when he finally comes back.
What is like? Isn't he supposed to be back soon?
Kind of. It's probably not going to be for another month. So,
Um,
because I mean, look at your rotation right now. Shota Imanaga, he's been really good overall. I mean, today he got off to a rough start, but he ended up keeping you in the ball game, so it wasn't catastrophic. Matt Boyd, he was just hurt and he just came back. He was fine the other night, as good as you could probably ask for him coming back his first time, but I still don't know about his stamina. You got Jamison Tyone, who's never going to dominate, but at least he can, keep you afloat. You got Colin Ray, as we mentioned before, and then you kind of just go by matchup. I mean, Javier Assad has started some games. Obviously, Colin Ray has. Craig Counsell's done the whole opener thing.
I mean, if you would have moved a little faster, you could have signed Lucas Giolito.
They tried, and San Diego got him for a little more. I don't know how good he is anymore.
I mean, it's better than Javier Assad.
Is he?
Well, not can't be worse.
I mean, with Assad, it's been on, off, on, off. Looked great, looked like puke. Looked great, looked like puke. Though he got some pretty big outs in that comeback win against the Phillies in that finale.
Giolito's got to really be mad about declining that $19 million option.
Yeah, I'll say.
That was real dumb of him.
Yeah, it was. And like, dude, like PU, look at your underlying numbers. They stink.
We'll see what he looks like because he's gonna. I think he's planning to join the Padres rotation in like mid-May.
Yeah.
Speaking of the Padres, we'll be playing them next. They're real good.
They're real good. And they are on a heater right now.
Yeah, they are. And then from there, we got to play the Diamondbacks, who did not look so hot against the White Sox.
No, the Sox destroyed them.
But otherwise, they've been pretty good. And then you come home and it's the Reds.
The Reds kind of look like it's early, but they're kind of looking like a team of destiny right now. Have you seen the way they've won some of those games?
Yeah, I mean, but you know what? They're back down to reality. They're good. They're very good. Don't get me wrong, but the standings of this division have really taken a hard turn in some ways. At first we were like, "Oh my God, how are the Brewers this good?" They currently sit at 14 and 13, tied for last place with the Cardinals. The Pirates are playing well. They're right there. Cubs are in second, a game behind the Reds. Reds. The Reds are weird though. is look at their home away split. They're 8-7 at home, 10-3 on the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cubs are opposite. Like they're 11-5 at home and 6-6 on the road.
Which seems more like like a normal type thing. You would think, oh, you're probably better at home.
The Pirates are split 8-5 and 8-7.
Yeah. Well, as I say, it is April.
It is April, but it is funny. The then that 10 game winning streak, the Cubs only beat the three highest paying payrolls in baseball. The Phillies, the Mets, and the Dodgers.
Huh.
Man, the Mets are bad.
Yeah, that's looking bad.
They are not looking so hot.
No.
Not at all. It's actually kind of sad. Um, it's like, what the hell happened there? Uh, got shut out again today by the Rockies, which is
Oof.
bad.
Oof.
And they actually, yeah, they lost yesterday 3-1 to the Rockies.
How is Carlos Mendoza still employed?
I don't know.
He's got to be gone soon, right?
Maybe. Um, it's just so dumb. But, the Pete Alonso letting him go doesn't look terrible. He hasn't looked so good this year.
Yeah, he's hit a few homers outside that though. Meh.
I mean, sub 200 average, sub 300 on base, 637 OPS. Not
Yeah,
good.
not the best. Not the best.
That's like PCA numbers.
Yeah. Don't remind me.
Yeah, and so I mean, they're in that 10 game streak, man. The Cubs look like they could be some real problems to the rest of the National League.
Just how is that pitching going to hold up?
I don't know. I don't know. You pray Justin Steele comes back and looks like the guy that he was before he got injured. You fingers crossed. Other than that, I don't know. You really got a pitching staff that just held together by duct tape and string.
Yep.
Um, luckily Cabrera looks great. That was a great trade. Tyone, hit or miss.
Yep.
Um, but the Cubs have been able to keep it together when everything's not working well. And I think we'll talk about how that differs from the White Sox. I think the big difference is the White Sox have had the same issues. Um, you know, Hitting that is either on fire, cold, pitching staff that's kind of held together by some string, not nearly as many injuries. But I think the big difference is in fundamentals. The the Cubs are a much better fielding team and a much better base running team.
Yes. Yeah.
And
I
I
mean, the
think that
Cubs
has
are
been a
the
huge
best fielding
difference.
team in baseball right now.
Yeah, they're just very good fielding. Just a
Yes.
very good fielding team.
They built it with that intention.
Yeah. And I mean it makes the pitching staff have more room to not be necessarily have to be great. Is You've got run prevention with your fielders.
Yes.
The White Sox, they're mediocre fielders, and you don't have the best. I mean, I'm not saying they're bad base runners. It's just they don't have a lot of great base runners, and yet in the pitching has been, the between the bullpen and it's a weird thing. It's you're trying to flip all levers and you're like, okay, I want the hitting to be good. You flip that on. You're like, all right, I want the starting pitching to be good. You flip that on. And then you had bullpen shuts it down. And as soon as you put on starter is good, it flips the the bullpen locks it down, it flips it off. And then you're like, oh no, I want that one on. And you flip it on, and then it said bats get cold. And you're like, what the hell? Why can't I turn all three on?
Hmm.
And that's been the problem. And you look and you're like, all right, the pitch between the pitching and hitting, just the raw stats, you look at it, and you're like, all right, that's not that bad. It's like, why are they not good? Um, and that's frustrating. And you look and you're like, all right, well, I guess that's the answer is you need you need better base running and better fielding to kind of alleviate that. And I think once all of the players that are probably ready to come up are brought up, you're going to change the math on that a little bit. Um, but it's the the White Sox should be better than their record currently is.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at their overall statistics in terms of the power numbers, like they're among the top in home runs. And, Muni Murakami is a big part of that, who's been just on an absolute heater with home runs. I mean, he was breaking some rookie MLB records with the number of home runs he was hitting and the rate he was hitting them. And then even Colson Montgomery for a while was getting in on the home run barrage.
Oh, and
So
Vargas
those
too.
Yes, and Vargas. I feel like Vargas had gotten really unlucky for a while and he was due to have a hot streak and we're finally seeing that. So good for him and good for Murakami, good for Colson Montgomery. And again, there's going to be ebbs and flows with these guys, but I really do give them credit when they're hot. They're hot. And they were that West Coast trip they had against the A's, against the Diamondbacks. I mean, they looked spectacular. The White Sox offense as a whole, that was a great road trip for the White Sox. It really was. And you got a taste of what some of these future guys could be like.
I mean, Murakami leads Major League Baseball in home runs, and he's
Hmm.
on pace to have like 64 home runs this season. Like the guy is playing like a beast. Gary's actually making sure to say, "Show me the Mooney." Um, but that's a guy. Why haven't they locked him up to a longer term deal? Like
Do they do such a thing?
they should. Like the guy is clearly a good baseball player. I mean, eventually, uh, you look at his hitting, and um, there's gonna be some regression somewhere, but he's the power is so good that you're going to be he's worthwhile of paying him. Um,
Right.
you know, you look at those numbers, and sure, that 232 average, not so hot, but 369 on base after 232, not bad. That 566 slug, that's you like that. And the 935 OPS, you're very happy with that. Um, so you live with that low average because the guy's gonna, you're gonna have to live and die by some of those strikeouts, but uh that power is just fueling your offense is almost entirely every day. Vargas, Montgomery, and Mooney are hitting home runs. All three hit a home run on Tuesday. All three hit a home run on Wednesday. Um, like you're just that's and then you had Mooney hit a home run on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. Like the guy is your offense.
Yeah, absolutely. And he hits them hard and he hits them far. The one of the ones he hit against the A's to dead center, that thing was good Lord. You saw that one, right?
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. He didn't hit home run Saturday or Sunday. I'm sorry. I was quickly looking at my notes. I wrote Mooney. That's where you got the bad Mooney is this weekend. He went 0 for 5 with 3 strikeouts on Saturday and 0 for 4 with 2 strikeouts on Sunday. Um, and that's what you sort of have to live with him is, he's going to just mash home runs. He's very Adam Dunnish.
Yes.
But it's funny because, there was a time when Adam Dunn You're like, oh my God, that guy stinks so hard. And
He was
that's,
ahead of his time, is what I'd say.
yes, he was very much ahead of his time in what the value he had was. Uh, you know, the the guy, I mean, you look at um, you had these low batting averages, 204, 219, but he had mid like 330 OPS. I mean, on base, 468 slug, 800 OPS. Like these OPSs, 948, 854, 819, 956, 927, 855, 940, 898, 901, 889, 928, 892, 800. Like that's and those home run numbers. 19, 26, 27, 46, 40, 40, 40, 40, 40, 32, 38, 38, 41.
His
Like
home run numbers were stupid consistent.
that guy in today's market would be just like
So valuable.
so valuable. Just he was too early.
Yep.
Yeah, his career batting average 237. Career OPS 854. So if you do a 162 game average for over his career, he's at a 237 batting average, 364 on base, 490 slug, 854 OPS with uh 37 home runs
Pretty
and
good.
95 RBIs
Pretty good.
and 132 hits. Like you live with that. I mean, sure, it's 193 strikeouts, but that OPS and those home runs, that's a Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That guy is valuable. So
And wait for the weather to warm up. I mean, I think Muni can hit 40 to 50. Hitting
I
60 is really hard to do.
I mean, he's hitting them in the cold weather.
He is. He is.
I mean, eventually you're going to cool down a little bit, but I mean, I don't. I think 50 is doable.
I think so too. I think so too.
Um.
I'd be shocked if he has less than 35. Shocked.
Oh, if he does at this point, you know, the only way I could see that happening is like some sort of serious injury.
Right.
Like he just looks so good. I mean, Montgomery looks good too. Vargas is playing well. Um, and then the funny one is Thursday. It was the only game you lost against. Oh no, you won that game against Arizona. Benintendi was your offense.
Yeah. How often do you say that?
Benintendi. I mean, Martin had an absolutely great start. The bullpen came through for you, and you're like, okay, our pitching was great. One run against Arizona, and the rest of your offense stinks. Benintendi is the sole offense to win you a game. You're like, okay, Andrew Benintendi, finally you don't stink
For once.
for once in your life. Um, you got another decent start out of Noah Schultz with the bullpen blue against the Nationals.
Yeah, I mean, the big takeaway there is Schultz looked really good. I mean, the stuff is nasty.
Yeah, I mean, there's still things he's got to work on, but he's a kid, and you feel it's not a Paul Skeens come in there and start the career and by any stretch, but he does look good. He does look like he belongs. He does look like he's going to be a piece long term, and you feel that's a hit. You hit on that one.
Yep.
Uh, so it's you feel good about that, and you're going to start bringing up some other guys, and you saw Sam Antonacci got a home run,
Hmm.
and um, but
Was that an inside the Parker?
I don't know. I was busy this week, so I only watched bits and pieces of highlights. It might have been. I mean, he looks like he's going to be a baller. So I mean, this team has the tools. Can the bullpen last? And can can you bring up some reinforcements fast enough? Because right now they're on pace for about another 100 losses.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Even if they are, I'm seeing, and I think many people are too, I'm seeing a much more competitive, intriguing team than last year, or definitely the year before.
Yeah, I mean, you even look this week is you won a series against Arizona. You lose the series against the Nats, but you don't get swept. So you end up with a 500 record this week. If you could just start playing 500 baseball throughout the week, uh, that just adds up very quickly with those wins. And that's all you want to do is you can't lose 100 games again.
Right.
You just can't. That's for fan morale, for player morale. If you could if you could get to cut 10 off of that and get to 90 losses, and it's not a good season by any stretch, but that's just got to be you got to look at that as a victory.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, just a couple seasons ago, you broke the record for worst record in the history of baseball, and to move up like 20 something games. All right, that's a huge step forward.
Yep.
Uh, but yeah, that offense goes real cold, real quick if they're not hitting home runs. And I think part of that is you look at the stats of these players and um that team batting average is brutal. Cunha sub 200, Benintendi's right at 200.
He's
Um,
that high.
he's Benintendi's at 207
Woo.
with a 250 on base percentage.
Ugh.
Um, Hill's 235, Murray's 214, Montgomery's 224, Murakami's 232, Vargas is 204, Mydroth is 263. They just don't but the slugs, um, Vargas is 418, Murakami's 566, Pereira's 500, Montgomery's 490. Like it's the middle of that order is is pretty darn good with hitting per power. And that's fueling this whole team as far as their scoring goes. They are they are essentially 2 through 5. That's it. That's where you're getting all your runs.
Right.
So the hope is those guys can stay hot. You can get the rest of your lineup to at least get on base, draw some more walks, maybe get a few hits in there. Um, and and then start bringing up those young pitchers.
Exactly. I mean, there's a lot of positives to take away, even with some of the losses, I would say.
Yeah, I would say so too. They are a team that can come in there any day and beat you. Is when you've got a team that's got some boppers on it, it's you've got to take them seriously because that I mean, how many games has Vargas, Montgomery, and Mune hit a home run together? It's been quite a few, and that just amount of power it makes it real tough to go unscathed. Um, some of these games, it's like the other team is throwing batting practice. Arizona gave up 11 runs in a loss and 7 runs in a win. You're like, Jesus Christ, like they're just mashing the ball. But then the next day, it's like, all right, barely any runs. And, today you sucked. You go 0-0 in extra innings and you lose 2-1 in the 10th. Um, your bullpen blows it in extras, but your offense just wasn't there. Zero offense.
No.
You just got to be able to have some level of consistency outside of a home run. Was there anything else you wanted to talk about?
Nope, I think I've said my piece.
Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. I want to thank everybody so much for listening. Please hit subscribe however you listen to podcasts, whether it's iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, Google Play, Spotify, etc. Share this podcast with your friends, help grow the show. Follow us on social media at Swerski Sports, Facebook.com/Swerski Sports, SwerskiSports.com, or Swerski_sports_podcast on Instagram, ShyFanPat2 for Alex on Twitter /X, or AlexanderJPatCreative.com for all the cool stuff that Alex does. And again, thank you so much for listening. And until next time, bear down.
Cubs win! What a lucky break! The good Lord wants the Cubs to win!
We thank Ditka and God for all they have provided.
Cubs win! Cubs win! Cubs win!
Oh, I don't want her. You can have her. She's a Packer fan. She can't fit in my van.
And she looks like
Remember, New Yorkers, smoking crack is not legal on planes. Bears 31 to -7.
the Bears. Oh, when the Bears go bearing down.